My name is Evelyn Stewart, and dying at 32 was never in my plans. Working as a trauma nurse in Seattle, I encountered death regularly, but facing my own was a profound shift in my understanding of everything related to life, death, and the thereafter. I've always prided myself on being logical, a staunch supporter of science and tangible evidence. Before my ordeal, I would have written off near-death experiences as mere brain-induced illusions during one's final moments. However, what I went through felt more authentic than anything I've ever lived through, completely altering my perception of reality. It was an ordinary Tuesday morning at Harborview Medical Center. The emergency room was unexpectedly serene, a brief and eerie silence that seemed to hint at the chaos yet to come. I had started my shift at 6 a.m., and by 10:30, I was checking on a teenage patient who had arrived with a broken arm. The monitors beeped their regular rhythm, and sunlight poured through the windows, casting patterns across the floor. It all seemed so ordinary, routine, secure. Then, suddenly, it struck. A crushing pain seized my chest as if clamped in a vice. It was a pain beyond any I had ever felt, sharp, overwhelming, and absolute. I tried to reach for the wall to steady myself, but my hand never made it. The last thing I heard was my patient screaming for help as I fell to the floor. Then, darkness enveloped me. Later, I discovered that I had experienced a massive pulmonary embolism, a blood clot that had traveled to my lungs. This was due to a clotting disorder I had unknowingly been born with. I was declared clinically dead for nearly 5 minutes, but during those minutes, I underwent an experience that profoundly altered my perspective on life, death, and the mysteries beyond. The initial thing I recall after the engulfing darkness was an odd sensation of floating. I found myself gazing down at my own body, sprawled on the hospital floor. Below, the scene was frantic. My colleagues, with whom I had worked for years, were fervently attempting to revive me. Dr. Robinson, the head of emergency medicine, was administering chest compressions, his usually composed expression now etched with intense focus. Emily, my closest friend and a fellow nurse since our training days, was setting up the defibrillator. Her hands were steady, yet her face was marred by tears. I longed to reassure them that I was fine, that the agonizing pain had vanished, and that a profound peace had enveloped me. However, I found myself unable to communicate. As they labored over my still body, I heard familiar medical commands being shouted, ones I had uttered myself so many times. Beep, clear, push one of epi. Observing my own resuscitation felt surreal, like watching a medical drama where I was simultaneously the viewer and the protagonist. The most remarkable aspect during those moments was the complete lack of fear. Gazing at my own lifeless form below, I felt entirely serene. It seemed as if all the anxiety, stress, and worry that had been my constant companions throughout my life had just dissolved away. I was overwhelmed with a profound sense of correctness, of being precisely where I needed to be. Then, the scenario shifted dramatically. I sensed myself being pulled from the hospital room, drawn into what appeared to be a tunnel of light. This movement was incredibly fast, beyond anything I had previously experienced, yet it felt utterly natural. The light intensified as I advanced, yet it was not blinding. Rather, it was warm and inviting, like returning home after a lengthy absence. As I traversed this tunnel of light, I noticed something remarkable. My consciousness was expanding. Thoughts became sharper, more profound. I began to grasp concepts that had previously eluded me in life. It was as though I had been viewing the world through a fogged window, and now it was crystal clear. When I emerged from the tunnel, I entered a domain beyond any earthly comprehension. The colors around me were unprecedented, shades that don't exist in our physical realm. The air itself pulsated with music, a melody so exquisitely beautiful it moved me to tears, though these were not tears of any physical nature, as I no longer possessed a physical body. Instead, I existed as pure consciousness, sheer awareness. It was then that I encountered him. Jesus stood before me, not as depicted in traditional religious art. His presence was both immensely overwhelming and deeply familiar. He exuded a love so pure and powerful that it brought me to my knees, in a figurative sense, since I had no physical form to kneel. His light was even more luminous than that of the tunnel, yet I could gaze directly at him without any discomfort. His eyes conveyed the wisdom of the universe, yet they also bore an infinite compassion that made me feel entirely seen and wholly loved. "Evelyn," he spoke, aiding me to rise, though his voice was not of this world. It was like pure thought transferred directly into my mind. With a simple gesture, the environment around us shifted, and he revealed a startling truth about the fate of souls post-mortem. The domain we occupied, which Jesus referred to as the third heaven, stretched infinitely, unfettered by the physical laws and dimensions familiar to us. It appeared to coexist within multiple dimensions simultaneously, where various states of being overlapped and interwove seamlessly. This isn't the ultimate heaven, Jesus clarified, but a transitional space where souls pause immediately after death. Consider it a divine way station, a sanctuary for healing, learning, and preparation for the next phase. The realm was segmented into distinct areas, each tailored to the unique needs of the souls it harbored. Jesus guided me through each zone, explaining their purpose and the condition of the souls within, revealing insights that challenged all my previous notions of death and the afterlife. In the first area, known as the Gardens of Peace, I observed souls enveloped in a golden light, exuding a sense of profound rest and contentment. Many were absorbed in deep meditation or prayer, while others quietly reflected on the surrounding beauty that seemed alive, its colors and patterns dynamically shifting in response to the thoughts and emotions of the souls. These are the souls who led lives filled with love and service, Jesus detailed. They find rest here, advancing in understanding and peace as they await the final resurrection. Their earthly existence was characterized by acts of kindness, compassion, and a heartfelt commitment to assist others. Now, they are experiencing the initial rewards of their benevolent actions. I noticed that these souls radiated a soft, internal light, with some shining more intensely than others. The light you observe, Jesus explained, as if he could hear my thoughts, represents how much they embrace divine love in their lives on earth, and they continue to grow brighter as they deepen their connection and understanding of divine love. What astounded me even more was the next area, which Jesus referred to as the halls of learning. In this space, souls were deeply engaged in what he described as divine learning. The environment was illuminated by what resembled amphitheaters made of light, where souls that had just arrived worked alongside more experienced beings, teachers endowed with exceptional wisdom and empathy. I watched as these souls underwent life reviews, which were not judgments but profound educational experiences. They viewed every action of their earthly existence, not only from their own perspective, but through the eyes of everyone impacted by their deeds. Each act of kindness, every unselfish gesture, and every expression of love sent waves of light across the universe. In contrast, Each unkind word, selfish act, and moment of unkindness cast shadows of darkness. This isn't about punishment, Jesus stressed, noticing my distress at the souls confronting their past errors. It's about understanding and growth. Each soul needs to see and grasp the full impact of their decisions to progress and move forward. In one particularly poignant scene, I observed a soul revisiting a moment when they had extended kindness to a stranger by giving money to someone without a home. In this review, they saw how this single gesture not only provided the recipient with food for the day, but also rejuvenated their faith in humanity. This renewed faith prompted the person to seek assistance, which ultimately transformed their life and enabled them to aid others. The ripple effects of this single act of kindness touched hundreds of lives over time. In contrast, I also witnessed souls learning from their missteps. One soul reviewed a moment of rage when they had harshly scolded their child. They felt not just the immediate pain of their child, but also saw how that incident had left a scar that affected their child's relationships and self-esteem for years. Even this challenging review was enveloped in love and understanding. The teachers assisted the soul in comprehending the origins of their anger and how to heal themselves, and from this realm, aid in healing those they had wronged. In another section of this celestial domain, I witnessed a sight that moved me deeply, though the tears I shed were not physical. Souls collaborated to assist those still on earth. These are often referred to as guardian angels by humans, Jesus elucidated. Many are souls who have chosen to remain in this realm to provide guidance and protection to those still living. Among them, I recognized my grandmother, appearing as she did in her prime, radiant, brimming with life and love. She smiled at me, and instantly I was overwhelmed with an understanding of how she had been guiding our family since her departure. She revealed numerous instances where she had been present, offering love, guidance, and protection. I saw her comforting my mother during her fight with cancer, standing beside my brother at his wedding, and even influencing my actions during critical moments in the emergency room. Every prayer is heard, my grandmother communicated, her thoughts seamlessly entering my mind. Every moment of need is acknowledged. We can't always shield you from difficulties, as challenges are essential for growth, but we can offer love, strength, and guidance. Sometimes we can even prevent mishaps or steer people towards better decisions, although we must always honor free will. The most enlightening experience was seeing what Jesus referred to as the healing chambers. These weren't tangible spaces, but rather conditions of existence where souls burdened with deep scars from their earthly lives, be it trauma, addiction, anger, or fear, received gentle healing from beings radiating pure light. This is often misconceived by human religions, Jesus explained. No soul is irredeemable. Even those who lead the darkest lives possess the potential for change. Love is the strongest force there is, and divine love can mend the deepest of scars. I observed souls who had committed grave offenses on earth undergo significant healing. It was not about punishment, it was about rehabilitation through unconditional love. These souls confronted the reality of their deeds, experiencing the full weight of the pain they had inflicted, yet they were always cradled by divine love and understanding. The healing process was intense, but was always led with compassion. Healing manifested differently for each soul. Some had to experience the consequences of their actions to fully grasp their effects. Others needed to reconnect with the divine love they had blocked out during their earthly lives. Yet others had to recover from their own trauma before they could begin to amend the damage they had inflicted on others. Jesus illustrated how, in this realm, souls communicate not with words, but with pure thought and emotion. I saw poignant reunions among family members who had been parted by death, but these reunions went beyond earthly bonds. Souls who had been adversaries in life were now reconciling, understanding the deeper meaning behind their earthly struggles. Every interaction was rooted in absolute truth. Deceit was impossible here. Time does not operate here as you understand it, Jesus said. What might appear as centuries of healing and development could unfold in mere moments by Earth's reckoning. Each soul advances at the pace they truly need. He then revealed something that overturned my entire understanding of death. In a specific zone, more advanced souls were actively participating in the creation of new realities. These souls had accumulated enough wisdom to engage in the divine process of creation itself, Jesus explained. I watched in amazement as these entities manipulated pure energy, crafting new worlds, new life forms, and even influencing the evolution of existing planets. Earth is merely one small school within a vast universe of education, Jesus told me. There are infinite realms and dimensions where souls can expand and evolve. The physical universe you are familiar with is just the starting point. However, Jesus then showed me a scene that deeply saddened me, a region where souls had opted to stay in darkness. Unlike the other areas, this place was stark and desolate. These souls, as Jesus detailed, had not yet chosen to embrace love and healing. But watch closely. I observed as beings of light persistently offered their love to these lost souls, never abandoning them or passing judgment. This embodies true divine love, Jesus explained. It never forces or condemns, yet it never ceases. Every soul, no matter how far astray, will eventually rediscover their path back to love. It's not about if, but when. Jesus then shared a critical insight regarding Earth's present condition. Humanity is at a pivotal crossroads, he noted. The decisions being made now will shape much of what is to come. But remember, free will reigns supreme. The future isn't predetermined. He presented visions of potential futures, some radiantly beautiful, others profoundly disturbing. I envisioned a future where humanity had mastered living in harmony with each other and nature, where technology served the common good, and where love and wisdom were the cornerstones of all decisions. But I also witnessed potential futures where humanity's choices resulted in immense suffering and devastation. He emphasized that the solution lies in love, not merely a theoretical love, but active, tangible love. Every act of kindness, every moment of forgiveness, every decision for peace over conflict doesn't just shape an individual soul, but molds the collective destiny of humanity, he stressed. Jesus then revealed something that left me in wonder, the interconnected web of all existence. I could see how every soul was linked to every other, how each action impacted the whole, and how love was the glue holding everything together. This is why forgiveness is so vital, he explained. When you forgive others, you are not only healing yourself, but also contributing to the healing of the entire universe. I observed how prayers and loving thoughts from earth form tangible patterns of light that influence the physical realm. I watched people send prayers for their loved ones and saw how these were received and responded to by beings of light. Although the answers sometimes came in unexpected forms, no sincere prayer remained unanswered. When Jesus told me it wasn't my time to stay, he entrusted me with a mission. Tell them what you've seen, he urged. Convey to them that death is not a conclusion, but merely a passage in the ongoing voyage of the soul, Affirm that love is the mightiest power known and that no one is ever genuinely lost. Before I returned, Jesus imparted one last profound truth that deeply moved me. The most profound deception is the belief in separation. Every soul, every being, and all of creation are interconnected in ways that are difficult for earthly minds to fully comprehend. The love you extend to others, you also bestow upon yourself. The harm you inflict on others, you inflict upon yourself. Forgiveness and love are vital because they mend not only individual spirits, but the entire continuum of existence. He illustrated to me that each gesture of affection sends forth waves of illumination that spread across every layer of reality, mending and elevating all they encounter. On the other hand, deeds of hatred and fear cast shadows that must ultimately be overcome by love. This is the essential task of every soul, he taught, to convert darkness into light, fear into love, and division into togetherness. All at once I felt a tug pulling me back. The final words I caught from Jesus were, "Remember, love isn't merely a sentiment, it's a decision, one that we must consciously make over and over, moment by moment." I jolted awake on the hospital floor, encircled by my colleagues. The defibrillator had just administered its third shock. The medical charts noted I had been clinically dead for 4 minutes and 52 seconds. Yet within those minutes, I experienced an eternity of insight. From that day forward, my perspective on life transformed completely. Death no longer scared me. Instead, I came to cherish life even more. I began to view everyone as a soul on a voyage, worthy of love and understanding. I realized how invaluable our time on earth is, a distinct chance to learn and evolve in ways not possible in other dimensions. My role as a nurse has gained a deeper significance. Now, when I gaze at my patients, I see beyond their physical ailments. I perceive their souls, radiant and splendid, regardless of external conditions. I've come to realize that healing transcends the physical body and encompasses the soul. At times, under the right conditions, I even feel the presence of luminous beings who assist and comfort both patients and medical staff. The profound lesson I've learned is this: the activities of those who have passed are much more magnificent and meaningful than many of us can fathom. They are not merely resting in peace. They are actively evolving, learning, healing, and even influencing the future of existence. Moreover, the love that binds all souls does not fade. It only intensifies as we navigate through various dimensions of being. I share this story not to sway anyone toward a specific religious belief, but to provide hope and insight into the journey we all share. Whether or not you believe my experience, I hope you grasp this fundamental truth. Love is the force that propels the universe, and every act of love, no matter its size, echoes through eternity. The deceased are not truly gone. They are more alive than ever, engaged in an immense process of cosmic evolution that is hard to grasp from our earthly viewpoint. One day, we'll all comprehend this reality on our own. Until then, our mission is straightforward yet profound: to deepen our love, forgive more freely, and live more fully, aware that every decision we make not only shapes our own soul's path, but also influences the journey of the entire cosmos.